Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and today we're checking out Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES.
Originally released in 1988, this was developed and published by Nintendo. It's another one of those Shiggy games. And really, between this and World, these are considered the best of the 2D Mario games. Does it deserve all the praise it gets? Let's find out.
Sure does!
Yeah, it pretty much does.
The graphics. Well, if you enjoyed Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2, then you are going to love this one, because it really perfected the style of all the sprites with a lot more detail. You have new enemies, and the worlds, while may not be totally different...
Right. Would you call them Super Mario Worlds?
No, I'd actually call them Kingdoms.
Boo.
Yeah, there is a boo in this game. See what I did there?
Let's go.
Jim, you want to keep going back and forth?
No, thank you. I hate myself already.
So each kingdom has its own unique look to it. Some of them share similar properties, but basically you have your grasslands, your deserts, your iceland, you have the fire world, you have the castles, and my personal favorite, the giant world. At least that's what I'm calling it, where everything is at least 2 times the size. So this game actually gave it a unique look while maintaining that traditional Super Mario style. We did appreciate the actual sprite for Mario has been updated, and as I said, it has a little more detail. Other than that, though, it's what you come to expect from these Mario games. They're colorful, they look good, and you can have a lot of things moving on the screen at one time with basically no lag. So, when it comes to scores, we both gave it 9s. There's nothing to really bitch that much about, although we felt the NES could have done maybe a little bit better. So when it comes to beer, I'm not going to add any. This game looks goddamn awesome.
The sound. I guess we'll start with the sound effects, and man, there are a lot of sound effects in this game. It's one of the big improvements over the previous Mario titles too, because normally those only had a couple sounds that got reused a lot, where this one, holy shit, the variety. And let's get to the music, which is probably some of the best music ever in any 8-bit game. The songs are memorable, they're legendary throughout the series, they're instantly recognizable, and they still get replayed to this day. I mean, you can't really go wrong here, so we decided to give it 10s. And when it comes to beer, you don't need any.
The control is the one area where we might get the most flack from our fans because we don't think it's perfect. Now, I say that with a caveat because it is damn near perfect. Everyone who's ever played the first Super Mario Bros. Knows exactly how to control in this game. With the new powers, you will have to learn to control your flight, and with the Tanuki suit, you can do the smash down, but it's nothing complicated, so we always like the simplicity of Mario games. Our one problem with it has always been that slippery feel. Some people have called it the momentum you gain as you run with Mario, and we all know it. When you jump onto a platform and Mario continues to slide, causing you to go to a death, that's an area that we've always had an issue with. Not saying it hinders the gameplay experience at all, but it is something that we felt keeps it from being perfect. So when it comes to score, we both gave it 9s. All nitpicking aside, the control is as close to perfect as it could be, and as when it comes to beer, I'm gonna add 2, 1 for me and 1 for Jim, because I can't wait to hear all the hate that we just are hating on a game with perfect control, and we should get used to it.
The gameplay. Yeah, this is gonna be about as good as a 8-bit platformer is gonna get.
Or better!
Or better. So, it just expands so much on the previous games. First, you have the new powers, the new suits, you have the expanded world, you have the overworld map, you have just all the secrets that you have from previous Mario games. It's just so much goddamn content here. All the levels are varied from each one another. You know, they have all their different gimmick, like Brian talked about before. And really, if there's only one true nitpick we would have, it's the bosses. It's not like they're bad at all, they're fun to fight. They're just a little bit too easy. And this is whether it's the main bosses or the mini bosses in the game.
You mean the Hammer Bros? Or Bowser's children?
Yes, Brian. Yes, I do.
I'm just keeping you honest.
God damn it.
Do you want to be co-op?
Want to be a co-op? Want to pretend to be a co-op? But yeah, so that's our only nitpick. It's very minor, but to us it just slightly keeps it from being a 10. So we gave it 9s. And when it comes to beer, let's just add one for the easy bosses.
The originality. If you follow our site or have watched any of our reviews, typically a game that's a third in a series won't get many points from us. But to be honest, we've touched on it here and there throughout the video, this game offered a ton new to the series. You had the ability to slide now. With the new suit's powers like flying, the Tanuki suit as I already touched on, now you can pick up the Hammer Bros hammer and throw that, the frog suit. It just expanded the abilities of Mario to a whole new level, and it would set the new standard for games moving forward. Not to mention, with these multiple kingdoms, the different styles of them, all the different paths you can take, with the mini games, I mean, I could just go on, but one of the biggest things, on top of just being able to have new powers, was the fact that you can actually select a power prior to the level starting. That actually changed the way you strategically went to a level. Say, for example, in one of the worlds that you felt this level you just weren't going to beat it and it wasn't going to be worth your time to waste your guys, you could use the cloud and go right past it. So it was little touches like this that made the game feel a lot less linear, and trust us, we're not saying the previous Marios were linear because obviously with warp zones they weren't. This just added a new feel to it, so with all that being said, we both gave it 7s. It kept that Mario style, but gave it more than just a fresh coat of paint. When it comes to beers, I'm going to give it 1, really for stepping up their games with this final Mario on the NES.
Alright, the replayability. I guess technically at its core, there isn't truly that much, because there's only one real ending to the game, but just the path you take to get there, it's a deceivingly hard game. Like, a lot of people these days are like, oh, you know, it's freaking Mario's easy as shit. Maybe if you grew up with it, then you had all the time in the world to put into it to learn it perfectly. If you're going into it with fresh eyes, there's a lot of random deaths that you're going to be experiencing and a lot of newbie traps, so you're going to have to play it a few times to really get yourself through it and to be confident in it. Besides that, you have the semi-two-player mode where you take the turns. Unfortunately, we wouldn't get the co-op modes until New Super Mario Bros., so it is what it is here. But just for the level of secrets, the level of stuff you can find, and just all the gameplay that's in here, we had to give it 8s. Maybe that's a little bit higher than we would have normally given a game with technically this little replayability, but just the overall package will make you keep coming back. And when it comes to beer, I'll just add 1 beer for that bullcrap take turns 2-player mode.
Overall, Jim and I are very weary of games that are overrated, and to be honest, this is not one of them. It can be debated whether it's the best NES game ever, because on almost all the lists we saw, it was between this and Legend of Zelda as the best game. It's definitely the best Mario, and I think it would be hard to argue for either one, but really, with all the power-ups and how deep of an experience this game is, there's not much to dislike. Jim touched on it briefly during the gameplay, and sure, even though the worlds are different and there are different patterns, there can tend to be a little bit of repetitiveness, but it can be overcompensated with going at the level a different way or taking different routes. We've said it multiple times, and I hate to keep repeating it. When a game is as good as this, it's hard to nitpick, and we're not looking for things to nitpick, but you know what? It is a damn fine game, and arguably, if you have an NES, this is just as much of a must-own as the first Super Mario Bros. Mario Bros. 2 you can probably avoid.
No, it's a good game, Tim.
Yeah, it's just not as good as 1 or 3.
No, it might be better than both of them.
Come on, nobody thinks that, Jim.
Right, people think that.
Just because you love Birdo.
I do love Birdo.
You would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take that.
Bird.
So anyway, we both gave it a 9. Exceptional game, and when we round all of our scores together, it comes out to a 9. For those of you who know our site, this is one of the highest scores we've ever given a game, and we are sure someone's still going to complain that it should be a perfect 10. Doesn't work like that with us. In our opinion, this game is not overhyped. Is it the best NES game? It's debatable. Either way, go out and get it. You can find it fairly cheap. When it comes to beer pairing, I'm going to have to choose the Victory Brewing Company's Golden Monkey. Much like this game, this is a beer that everyone knows, and some people might think is overrated until you try a few. Comes in at 9.5%, and it is a delicious triple. I've never really met that many people who don't like this beer, so be careful. Get yourself a 6-pack. I would say take 1 or 2 before you try and finish the whole 6-pack while playing this excellent game. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.